Ladies and gentlemen, mind-benders, let's take a journey together. Close your eyes for me just for a moment. Let's imagine you're in a lonely, desolate, frozen landscape in the middle of nowhere, Russia. All you see is white. Even the snow makes the trees seem to blend into the ground. The wind howls as you climb through a treacherous mountain pass, whipping through the trees as if Mother Nature screams at you. The temperature drops far below zero. Your body yearns for shelter as you get colder and colder. Now, you are one of 9 experienced hikers setting out on a journey into this unforgiving landscape. Except you are never to return. What happened? Was it a tragic accident? Or did something far more sinister unfold? This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, one of the most perplexing mysteries in modern history. Let's begin. In the winter of 1959, an expedition set out into the heart of Russia's northern Urals, a region known for its unforgiving terrain and brutal cold. This journey, led by a determined 23-year-old engineering student named Igor Dyatlov, was meant to be a test of skill, endurance, and sheer willpower. But what began as a challenging adventure would soon become one of the most chilling and perplexing mysteries of the 20th century, a mystery that remains truly unsolved to this day. The team Dyatlov assembled was no ordinary group of hikers. The group consisted of 8 men and 2 women, all in their 20s, except for the 38-year-old Semyon Zolotaryov, who joined the expedition at the last minute. Each member was highly experienced, holding the coveted Grade 2 hiking certification. They were on the verge of achieving the prestigious Grade 3, the highest certification available in the Soviet Union at that time. This wasn't just a leisurely trek through the mountains. It was a grueling journey through some of the most treacherous landscapes the Soviet Union had to offer. The route they chose would take them over 300 kilometers of snow-covered wilderness, leading to the remote and enigmatic peak of Otterton, a mountain whose name in the language of the indigenous Mansi people ominously translates to "Don't go there." On January 23, 1959, the group was officially sanctioned by the Sverdlovsk City Committee of Physical Culture and Sport. They received their route book, meticulously planned by Dyatlov himself, and set off with a mix of excitement and determination. But as they departed from Sverdlovsk, now known as Yekaterinburg, an ominous sense of foreboding hung over them, something that would later seem like a dark premonition of the events to come. On January 25th, the team arrived in Ivdel. From there, they journeyed by truck to Vazhai, a Lori village that was the last inhabited settlement before the vast, desolate expanses of the northern Urals. On January 27th, they began their trek toward Goro-Torton, their ultimate goal. But just one day later, the first sign of trouble appeared. Yuri Yudin, one of the original 10 members, was forced to turn back due to severe pain in his joints. As he watched his friends disappear into the frozen wilderness, Yudin could not have known that he would be the last person to see them alive. The remaining 9 pressed on, documenting their journey with diaries and cameras. These records, later recovered from their final campsite, would provide a haunting glimpse into the days leading up to the incident. On January 31st, the group arrived at the edge of a highland area, the starting point for their climb. In a wooded valley, they cached surplus food and equipment, planning to retrieve it on their return journey. The next day, they began their ascent through the pass, intending to cross over and camp on the opposite side. But as they climbed, the weather took a turn for the worse. A blinding snowstorm descended upon them, reducing visibility to almost nothing. Disoriented and off course, they unknowingly veered toward the menacing slopes of Kholat Syakhl, a name that in Russian can be translated to Dead Peak. As night fell on the icy slopes of the Ural Mountains, 9 hikers faced a deadly decision. They had strayed off course, their destination hidden by a blinding snowstorm. Just a mile away, a forested area offered shelter from the brutal winds. But instead of heading there, the group made a fatal decision. They set up camp right on the exposed mountainside. Why would these experienced hikers, led by the determined Igor Dyatlov, make such a dangerous move? Some say Dyatlov didn't want to lose the altitude they'd gained. Others believe he wanted to test their survival skills. Whatever the reason, this decision would seal their fate. Before the expedition began, Dyatlov had promised to send a telegram once they returned to safety. They were expected back by February 12th, but when the date passed with no word, no one panicked. Delays were common in such treacherous conditions, but as days turned into a week, the hikers' families demanded action. On February 20th, rescue teams were sent out, joined by the Soviet Army and police, scouring the vast, snow-covered wilderness. What they would soon discover would defy all explanation, leaving behind a haunting mystery that still chills us to this day. The bodies of the first 2 hikers were found at the edge of the forest, nearly a mile away from the campsite. They were dressed only in their underwear, lying in the snow beside the remains of a small fire. It was as if they had fled in such a panic that they didn't even take the time to dress properly. But what could have driven them to such madness? 3 more bodies were discovered, not far from the first 2, as if they had been trying to return to the tent. These hikers, including the leader, Igor Dyatlov, were also inadequately dressed for the brutal cold. Their positions suggested that they had collapsed while attempting to regroup, possibly succumbing to hypothermia. But the strangest discoveries were yet to come. It would take 2 more months before the final 4 bodies were found, buried under several feet of snow in a ravine farther into the woods. Unlike the others, these hikers had suffered horrific injuries: broken ribs, fractured skulls, and internal damage that experts likened to the force of a car crash. Yet, there were no external wounds, no signs of struggle, and no evidence of any attack. 2 of the victims were missing their eyes. One of those had their tongue removed as well, details that have helped spark countless theories and speculation over the years. But what could have caused such gruesome injuries in the middle of the wilderness? Theories ranged from an avalanche to a secret Soviet military test, but none seemed to fully explain the bizarre circumstances of the incident. As investigators and enthusiasts delved deeper into the case, more unsettling details emerged. For example, tests revealed that the clothing of some of the victims contained traces of radiation. But where could this radiation have come from? Was it linked to a secret military experiment, or could it be evidence of something even more sinister? Then there's the testimony of other hikers and locals who were in the area at the time. Some reported seeing strange orange orbs in the sky on the night of the incident, while others spoke of unexplained burns on the trees near the campsite. Were these signs of a military test gone wrong, or could they point to something beyond our understanding? And what about the diaries and cameras recovered from the site? The hikers had documented much of their journey, and their last photos and entries offer tantalizing glimpses into their final days. But none of the evidence provides a clear answer to the central question: what happened to the 9 hikers of the Dyatlov Pass? One of the earliest theories was that the hikers were caught in an avalanche, forced them to flee the tent in a panic. But experts quickly dismissed this idea. The area showed no signs of an avalanche, and the tent was still standing when it was discovered. Also, why were some of them dressed semi-sufficiently, while others were in nothing but their underwear? Plus, the injuries sustained by some of the hikers didn't match those typically caused by an avalanche. Another theory suggests that the group fell victim to a secret Soviet military experiment, The Ural Mountains were known to be a testing ground for military technology, and some believe the hikers may have stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to see. This theory is supported by reports of strange lights in the sky on the night of the incident, which some claim were Soviet missiles or aircraft being tested in the area. Could these have caused the hikers to panic, or worse, have they been directly responsible for their injuries? Then there's the idea that the group was attacked by a local Mansi tribe who believed the hikers had trespassed on sacred land. But there's no evidence of an attack, and the Mansi people were known to be peaceful. Some have even suggested a more supernatural explanation. Could the hikers have encountered something otherworldly in the mountains? The fact that their bodies were found in such strange conditions, combined with the eerie atmosphere of the Ural Mountains, has led some to speculate about encounters with unknown forces or creatures. There are countless cases of over-the-world of people going missing under mysterious circumstances in and around forested areas. And then there's the theory of infrasound, a phenomenon where low-frequency sound waves can cause feelings of panic, nausea, and discomfort in humans. Could an unusual weather pattern have generated these sound waves, driving the hikers to madness and causing them to flee the tent in a state of confusion and terror? The Soviet authorities investigated the Dyatlov Pass incident, but their findings only deepened the mystery. It was later found that the first prosecutor may have been forced to close the case quickly due to pressure from above. Unfortunately, if the deaths were linked to the Soviet military and someone was found to go against the party, they may have been killed or at the very least sent to prison. The official cause of death for most of the hikers was listed as hypothermia, while the injuries of the others were attributed to an unknown compelling force. The case was quickly closed, with officials seemingly eager to put the incident to rest, but the questions remained. What was this unknown compelling force that could shatter bones and drive seasoned hikers to flee into the night? And why were so many details of the investigation shrouded in secrecy? In the decades that followed, the Dyatlov Pass incident became a subject of intense fascination for researchers, conspiracy theorists, and armchair detectives alike. Books, documentaries, and countless online discussions have attempted to piece together the puzzle, but the truth remains elusive. Over 60 years have passed since the Dyatlov Pass incident, but the mystery remains unsolved. In 2020, the Russian government reopened the case and concluded that an avalanche was the most likely cause of the hikers' deaths. But this explanation has done little to satisfy those who have spent years studying the incident. The injuries, the state of the campsite, the radiation, all of these elements point to something far more complex than a simple avalanche. As we close the chapter on this eerie tale, one thing is clear. The Dyatlov Pass incident is more than just a tragic story of lives lost. It's a mystery that continues to haunt us, a reminder that some questions may never have answers. That's what makes it so compelling, though, doesn't it? The unknown, the unexplained. It's what keeps us searching, questioning, and wondering what really happened on that cold, dark night in the mountains of Russia. So, what do you think? Was it a simple accident, a secret military experiment, or something far more sinister? The truth is out there, but it may be more elusive than we can ever imagine. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay curious, because sometimes the greatest mysteries lie just beyond the edge of what we know. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Dyatlov Pass incident, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of The Mindbender. What should we uncover next? Let us know in the comments below.